Greetings, goblins and guys. Welcome to the Cloudpost. We have done some research for you this week.
And these are the top 10 best decks in Standard. Starting off at number 10, we are looking at Azorius Tempo. This deck is really cool as far as having a lot of cantrips like Consider, Sleight of Hand, and Otherworldly Gaze. They're also putting cards into your graveyard with Chart of Course, Picklock, Prankster, and more, and you're actually going to reanimate things with Recommission and Helping Hand, such as Monastery Mentor and Haughty Djinn. I think it's a cool idea. What do you think, Blake?
I think this is one of the spiciest ideas in Standard right now. I do love the cards, Haughty Djinn and Monastery Mentor. Card Blast from the Past right there, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Super fun. Yeah, you're going to pump out a bunch of tokens with this guy, and this guy's just going to be absolutely massive. You have March of Swirling Mist to keep them, like, the evasion going on there. This is a really, really unique build. I absolutely love this. And seeing Helping Hand and Recommission bring those back, you're just going to have to deal with the Djinn like 80 times. Like, Can they deal with it? Probably not.
Yeah, really cool. Give this one a shot.
Coming in at number 9, we have the White Weenie Toxic deck. Using cards like Crawling Chorus, Skrelv, Skrelv's Hive, and Jawbone Duelist to pump that Toxic into your opponent and kill him really quickly. This deck is really fast, really aggressive, and it can really destroy that 4-color control deck, 5-color control deck, either one, quite quickly before they actually have a board set up. So what do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I love seeing people still using these strategies because Toxic is really powerful. It was a long time since we had Infect, and being able to actually kill your opponent, only counting to 10 with poison counters is still really cool. Also, special shout out to this card in the deck. This is just basically a way to keep your card advantage going because you're going to blow through your creatures. So,
oh yeah,
I could definitely see myself playing this one. I know you've battled with it. Looks like a cool one.
Yeah, I really enjoy little low to the ground cards like the Lay Down Arms, Crawling Course, and Skrelv. Quick games are fun, and this is one of the coolest ways to do it.
Number 8 might be doing some things that our previous deck did, and that is Toxic, but this is banned. So you're still going to get access to the white Toxic staples like Skrelv and Crawling Chorus, as well as Skrelv's Hive, but now we're also going to bring in Venerated Rot Priest. Can't forget about this one. This card is still an absolute bomb. You can save it with March of the Swirling Mist, and then you have a lot of Proliferate cards, which are going to be really neat to play, like Experimental Augury. So, I don't know, this is just a cool strategy. I've seen more of the spells-based version of this, Blake, but what do you think about combining it with some creatures?
I have yet to play this build, but it really, really is interesting to me. Seeing any deck with Venerated Rot Priest is just fantastic.
Definitely.
I love the Infect kind of thing going on here. It reminds me of the past Infect decks that we used to see in Modern and stuff. This one's really unique, though, seeing the blue spells like Bring the Ending, Experimental Augury, and Serum Snare. Really cool stuff. This is a fun one. I'm going to have to try this one out myself. Number 7, we have Gruul Aggro. Now, it's not really as much Gruul as it is really just mono red splash green. This deck is very, very low to the ground. All the awesome cards like Cacophony, Scamp, Kamano, you know them, you've seen them. All the Monastery Swift Spears, Monstrous Rage. Yeah, we've all seen this deck before, but we know it wins games. Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, I am one who plays aggro decks in the format. I find them quite enjoyable, and any deck with Godric right now is going to be high on my list to choose. I like the burn spells that are in this deck, but the reason that this deck can go long is Questing Druid with that Seek the Beast and Audacity to make sure that you're trampling over your opponent's blockers and drawing cards.
Yeah, this is a really, really unique little piece to have the Druid and the Audacity in there. I feel like you just don't run out of goodies.
Yeah. Keeping your pedal to the metal, if you will, is the name of the game, and not running out of gas is how you just steamroll your opponents.
Heck yeah.
Just outside of the top 5 at number 6, this is Rakdos Control. And this deck is really punishing to all the aggro decks in the format. You're seeing things like Brotherhood's in the main deck of this thing. You've got this nice suite of 2-drop interaction with Shealdra's Edict, Go for the Throat, Bitter Triumph, even an Ironcrag to ramp yourself a bit. But I think the interesting thing that this deck does, Blake, is things like Burn Down the House, discarding cards with big score to reanimate them with Cruelty of Gix, and you've definitely got big payoffs.
You really do. This deck is fantastic. Personally, this is like one of my favorite things to actually play, so I'm going to be giving this one a run. But dude, seeing cards like Trumpet and Carnosaur actually be played and have a real reason to play it, like you said, you can destroy things with it and then bring it back, and it's just so powerful with the Discover 5. And you have even crazier cards like Atali and Chandra. This is an absolute beast of a deck. I adore this. I am going to be playing this in the ladder for sure. But seeing all the board wipes in it, yeah, there must be a lot of aggro because Brotherhood's End and Burn Down the House just wipe the board clean.
100%.
Hey, thank you guys for getting this far into the video. We truly appreciate it. If you made it this far, please like it, and
subscribe to the Cloudpost. It goes a long way. Share this video with your friends. It's the best way to grow our community.
Now let's get into the top 5. Number 5 is Dimir Aggro. This deck is a little bit special to me as it won first place, but it is extremely unique. You have really cool cards like Spyglass Siren and Fairy Mastermind and the Schooner and the Bat. I just love these low to the ground cards. These creatures are really, really cool. Not super powerful, but once you get them crewed up with the Schooner, they go hard. Later in the game, you got Tishana's Tidebinder. We know how good that is. Preacher of the Schism has been taking over the meta, by the way. And Gix is going to help you draw all the cards you need. So, at the very end of the game with Sheoldred and Urtai, you're not going to have any problems. Jake, what do you think?
I see no way that this deck could be poor. I mean, it has heavy hitters back to back. You already mentioned Deep Cavern Bat. Get used to seeing this card because it's going to be everywhere. And like you mentioned as well, this deck is very efficient at crewing Subterranean Schooner. So with all the interaction that it has, I think this is an excellent game plan to take into Standard. Making it to number 4 on our list, Golgari Aggro. You're going to see a ton of Golgari variants, but we believe this aggro version to be the highest winning percentage you could play right now. You're going to see staples like Mosswood Dread Knight, like Deep Cavern Bat. You've got the typical removal that you would, but of course now we also have access to Preacher of the Schism, and you're still going to play Glissa. So I think those are kind of the core pieces of the deck, Blake, but you're getting maximum Archfiend of the Dross, which I know you love, and then we have some cool late game spells as well. What do you think about it?
This is probably one of my favorite color combinations in Standard or just ever. I really, really appreciate the late game of this deck. You're already going to be beating face with these low to the ground creatures in the beginning. Also, Glissa is going to make everything just such a pain in the ass to deal with. Oh, so good. Drawing cards to Glissa is going to trigger the Sheoldred. Killing things with Glissa is going to trigger the Archfiend. Your removal triggers the Archfiend. You have Gix's command to bring things back. A little bit of fun with Aclazotz here. The lifelink will help you stabilize against decks like Mono Red. Same thing with the Preacher of the Schism making the 1/1s. Yeah, super cool deck. Absolutely love it. Try it out yourself. Number 3, we have Rakdos Aggro. If this deck looks familiar to you, it is because we played it last Friday, and it's made a ton of ladders. I think this is one of the most powerful decks in Standard right now, and having cool cards like Fairy Dream Thief just, oil up the gears for this to work. It's just so cool. I'd say check that deck out. We have the deck list down below, and the old video for you. Jake, what did you think about it?
I love this deck, man. We had a ton of fun playing it. The top end of the deck, which is only 4 mana, of the Geological Appraiser and Archfiend of the Dross are a great way to cap out of this deck. The theme continues with decks in this top 10 having Preacher of the Schism, but my favorite card to play with in the whole deck is Enti. Enti has high synergy. This is the reason that you're playing things like the Dream Thief to discard, and you get all that value while still turning creatures sideways.
It's super awesome, and I love seeing cards like Geological Appraiser. It's basically Cascade, but it's actually kind of better because it goes to your hand if not. So good.
At number 2, the latest and greatest evolution of Soldiers, Azorius Aggro. And you're going to see cards that you have hated losing against for a very long time. Recruitment Officer, Harbin, Zephyr Sentinel, all of the hits, Resolute Reinforcements, but guess what? There's a little twist to this deck because we're definitely going to convoke out our Knight Errant of Eos, and we're also going to be running Wedding Announcements and Tishana's Tidebinders because these are just epically good mid-range cards. What do you have to say about the latest evolution here, Blake?
God, I hate that it's not Soldiers anymore because the theme's gone, but you know what? The evolution is real and it's good. Seeing cards like Luinarch Veteran actually be in the deck to keep you from dying to mono red aggro, this is good. We can't deny how good this is, and it's taken over the tournaments as well. Oh, too good.
Yeah, the tech is real with this one. If you want to kill your opponent fast, give this one a shot.
And at number 1 is the 4 or 5 color control deck. Atrox is always going to be there. This is just a main stay piece in all the ladders. It's dominating them. It may not be getting first place every single time, but you will always see it. For as long as this card exists, it will be there.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, Blake. And the reason why this deck is so powerful is because this card actually costs 1 mana. This card actually costs 2 mana. And then once you're actually kicking Archangel of Wrath, it really doesn't matter if your opponent started to steamroll you. You're just going to catch back up. And if you eventually resolve your Atroxa, how do people win the game? It's quite annoying, quite frustrating. But as long as these lands are in Standard, then we will have crazy builds like this.
Yeah, and it is definitely keeping note of the aggro decks in the format. I think there's only 2 control decks, with this one being one of them. You run 4 Sunfalls and 2 Depopulates. It knows they're out there. It knows the aggro's there, and it's going to put a stop to it. I also like seeing the one of Nissa here. She's also just a pain in the butt to deal with, so... Yeah, if you want to win some games and you have the rares for it, crack this bad boy out. It is so good.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy content like this, let us know down in the comments.
We truly appreciate that. And as always, we will see you on Friday.